Good evening,
Hello,
everyone.
Hi, Martha.
Hi. Jude, you're on? Okay.
I am.
Jude,
thank you.
no problem.
Thank you.
Jude is not feeling well tonight, so she's going to take the call from beyond the meeting from phone. And we may have some other participants, but I think there's just one. We're going to begin our first Board of Selectmen meeting for the new group at 5:31, and call the meeting to order. I'd like to, before we do the approval of minutes, I do have to ask for amendment to the agenda. There is another resignation for the Lyme Senior Center Board, and I would like to add that to the agenda, as well as our Director of Finance has just reported to me that she has some quotes that she would like us to look at tonight, because she'll have to go before the Board of Finance next week with these. So if we could include that as well. So if I could have a motion from one of you.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Jim will make the motion to amend the agenda to include those two items. Jude, can you second?
I will second that. Thank you.
All right, and Jude, we'll have a copy of this, the quotes from Anita, and I can scan them and send them over to you.
Sounds perfect. Thank you, Martha.
Okay. So our first thing on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the November 6th, 2023 meeting. If I could have I know that neither of you were there, but you can approve minutes. So can we make an emotion?
I have one little typo, I think, Martha.
Okay.
On page 2, just before section 3, regarding the sewers, it says he also said excuse me, my voice a little off.
It's okay.
Just after the parentheses, to use the sewer line, it says in all set. I think it's supposed to be is all set.
You are correct. That is
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's minor, but it's there.
Nope, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we have a motion to accept the minutes with that correction in place?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Jude.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The ayes have it. Moving on. We have information items, communications, and correspondences. I can only say that there's been a lot of communication regarding the speed limit on roads in town. We have received verbal complaints. We've heard some emails, and I did have a meeting with some of the police officers this morning. We are going to have further discussions on those concerns, and I will have a report once I get back to you, possibly by next month or maybe earlier.
Great.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to have public comment? Would you like to come up?
Can I stay here?
Sure, just speak loud.
Well, I first of all wanted to congratulate you all on your new endeavors. Very wonderful. And then I was going to bring up the traffic thing again, but I'm just wondering if I can add to your traffic thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've asked before, maybe this time can happen. Can we get the State Traffic Commission to come down here and do a study, especially on 156 and the shoreline, where the beaches are? Because you and I have talked before, there's got to be either more stop signs or caution signs or hatch marks in the road and a couple more walkways between Hawksneck Beach and the church. There's just so much foot traffic there. Actually, I almost wish the sidewalks could have been extended more going west. I don't know if there's any grant money around anymore to do that. But, they come up cross lane, and if they want to go left to come down our streets or the next beach, they're walking the dangerous situation. Anyway, so that's that. Hopefully something good can come out of that this year. Another thing I wanted to say there's some activity down on Shore Road, near Cross Lane, near my house. And I just would like to make a statement and hope that it can be passed along to where it needs to go. I found in the minutes of meetings and attending a last meeting, especially the zoning board, that outright non-truths were told. Right up here, sitting here, talking for these entities, and I've noted it when the minutes come out. I say it's just not right, and I'm not tolerating it. I don't think the township is not for the good of the town. People are telling things that they're absolutely not true. You can see them with your own eyes, if you go and look. And I don't want to smash anybody out here in public, but I will in private if you'd like me to. But I've never served on a board or commission. I can only imagine how difficult it must be for those people who give their time and get appointed, etc. But I don't understand, over the last 3 years I've been attending a lot of different meetings, that it seems that the information that they get from the people that are proposing these projects is not vetted in any way. And if it was vetted, I'm not sure if that's in their scope to do that, but it makes sense to me, if you're being told all this stuff, that you ought to take a look at things to see if it's so, because in many times over the past 3 years, stuff has not been so. Anyway, so I'm just hoping we can have more transparent, more truthful, more honest, more above board everything when it comes to commissions and projects that they're listening to in town.
Okay. Thank you. And you have Suzanne, you have Carolyn's name?
Carolyn Moreno.
Okay.
Yes.
And just so you also are all aware, tomorrow we have a couple of town hall employees that are going up to Chester because we really are hoping to use Microsoft Teams at our next meeting so that you can dial in and actually be seen on the large screen. But because of the fact that we're having a little blip with our computer company, they're going to go up to Chester to see how they did the workaround. So we should hopefully have some adjustments made by hopefully January. Okay, so next, moving on, we have appointments. We have an appointment for Ann Redfield for the Halls Road Improvement Committee to fill a vacancy that is on it. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Jim will make that motion.
I'll second.
Jude will second. Okay, so all those in favor of appointing Ann Redfield to the Halls Road Improvement Committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, no nays, no abstentions. We're good. That passes. Katie will make those changes on board. And then we have 2 resignations from the Senior Board of Directors. We have Jerry Baker is resigned from the Senior Board of Directors. She will remain as the chair of the Building Committee. And we also have a resignation of David Kelsey from the Halls Road Improvement Committee, effective November 9th. So if I could have a motion to accept those 2 resignations.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Jude.
I'll second.
Second by Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, old business. As many of you know, in August of 2022, we began a discussion with Randy Frank to begin a salary study. And after many starts, we finally, with our newest HR person and the help of Katie Balaka in our office and the finance department, we finally have met with Randy this week. She was in town for the CCM conference. We sat down with her. She has an initial draft, but then because of some changes over 2023 that she was unaware of, she's going to go back and make those changes on the spreadsheet and Anita and Sheila are going to do a double check on it, and then it will be sent out to the Board of Selectmen for review as a draft. And then we will have a discussion about it. So hopefully in the next... Go ahead.
I'm wondering when that will come, Martha, only because it's taken so long since August 22.
Anita is here. Let me ask. What do you think?
Okay.
She will be here today. She got tied up and was not able to make it. She promised me she will be here tomorrow. We'll review it, and I'll get it news and we review it.
Okay, so Sheila was supposed to meet with Anita today to review those changes, and she was called out, but she's promised that she'll be here tomorrow. So hopefully by the end of the week we should have the draft.
Oh, that's great news. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, new business. We have Mr. Foliano, who would like to come to talk to us about the Affordable Housing Commission and their activity. And Jude, Michael brought some new paperwork that I think he emailed to you as well, but he has a new handout for today. That it was emailed.
Slug can pick it up for me. I should find to be out and about in a day or two.
All right, but it should be in your email as well. He emailed it as well. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Before I start,
take that so it's just recorded well. Thank you.
Before I start on the update, I had sent out the material that was presented to the previous board earlier this year. So I'm wondering if you want to just stop for a minute and see if Jim or Jude have any questions about the origin of the project, the nature of the project.
I saw it this morning.
I saw the packet that my husband picked up today from the town hall, and I at the last Board of Selectmen meeting, so I was familiar with it. And at this point, I do not have any questions.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and if that changes during the course of the next few minutes, I'll be right here.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, better?
Can you hear him now, Kate? Test, do a test, please, for Kate.
Okay. Kate, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll pick up with an update that is effective as early as late as 2 o'clock this afternoon. So since June, when the board endorsed Habitat for Humanity as our preferred partner, and we started moving forward on that basis, we've been working with Town Council, the Land Use Department, Planning and Zoning Commission's Board of Finance, also continued discussions with Habitat for Humanity to pull the project together, what the big pieces of the project would be, what the timeline would be for executing it. So I'm going to update you on some progress on that. So since June, with Town Council, there was a full document, pull-down title search done. All the documents were reviewed. And that review confirmed that the 2 building envelopes that right now exist as part of a conservation restriction, so they have been surveyed and mapped out, but they have not been divided and deeded. So that status was confirmed. There are no deeds, there are no tax records, so the building envelopes need to be divided before they can be conveyed to Habitat for Humanity and before any site work or construction can begin. It was also confirmed that the transfer of the property to any private entity was not included in the approval of the original open space acquisition. So those 2 things combined say that we have to divide the 2 envelopes off, create deeds for them, and go to town meeting to approve the transfer of those 2 new lots to Habitat for Humanity so that they can proceed with the building project. So that helped define the path forward, exactly what we have to do. We also confirmed through council that we will be able to use the ARPA grant to reimburse the open space acquisition fund for the original purchase price of those 2 building envelopes when the land transfers to Habitat for Humanity, as well as use it to support planning, site work, and construction. So that'll make things simpler in that we won't have to go through any finance sequencing that would have Habitat for Humanity have to borrow some money, give us $100,000, and then we reimburse them for $100,000. We can use the grant directly to reimburse the open space fund and speed things up. So that was good news. And then the last thing is really important, which is we determined that subdivision approval is not necessary as a prerequisite to go to the town to approve the transfer of the 2 lots that will result from that subdivision approval. It can be among the terms of an agreement with Habitat for Humanity that can be approved. So essentially, we can approve the transfer, the town can approve the transfer of the land contingent on the subdivision being approved. And what that does, and you'll see this in a couple of pages, is it basically clears a path for us to go to town, to put this in front of the town at the January annual town meeting.
Okay.
Rather than waiting during the year. With land use, planning and zoning, basically went through the subdivision process and mapped that out so we know what's in front of us in terms of the application and some of the costs involved. With the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance last month, we were able to allocate some additional budget to support the subdivision application and some of the engineering and legal costs that will come with that. And then all along we've been in touch with Sarah Leffler at Habitat for Humanity just to keep her apprised of where we're headed. And they're starting to organize themselves for this project. And my understanding from Sarah, they've received approval to move forward as well from their board.
Great.
So the bottom line here is if we can come to terms with Habitat for Humanity and get that approved by the Board of Selectmen over the next 6 weeks, so that would come up again at your January meeting, then it should be feasible to seek town approval for the project at the January 2024 meeting, which I guess is the third week of January, I believe. In there? I should look.
First week for us.
Is it the first week?
For our meeting.
Yeah, for the annual town meeting, that's later in the month.
Oh, third Monday of the month.
So. That brings you right up to today. So we're going to move along on a schedule that considers all of this input and aims for the January annual town meeting to seek approval from the town on this.
Okay.
And I'll go through a more detailed schedule of that in a couple of pages. We're almost there. The next page is just the general framework for the project. So who does what for the project? So the town will be responsible for subdividing the land, creating the lots, conveying the land to Habitat for Humanity, providing a steering committee as a point of contact and support and coordination for them, and the $150K ARPA grant. It was decided back in June that the steering committee will manage the disbursement and documentation reporting for the ARPA grant, so that'll be part of their function, will be to manage the grant.
Okay.
Habitat will take ownership of the land. They will plan and run the construction project, resulting in one affordable single-family home on each lot, which is by deed restriction. That's the most that can be done there, is one single-family home per building envelope. In a project that will comply with the conservation restriction that is on that land and will remain on it as part of the deed. They will qualify the applicants for owning or renting. They're leaning towards ownership right now, but they want to leave the option open depending on cost to be able to rent it. They will sell or lease the land and the homes, and they will provide for protection of the property as affordable into the future. So that's the broad framework for the project, and that's consistent with what we talked about in June.
So on this timeline.
So here up on the timeline, good.
They believe they could start construction in late April?
As soon as. Yeah. So this is a best case. I made sure to put that at the top. This is
okay.
a best case scenario.
Best case. Okay.
That's site work.
Yep.
Not construction of the house, but site work.
Site work start. Okay.
commence the project, which would begin with site work.
Okay.
And that all depends on the subdivision application being approved, and leave some room for unforeseen developments during the course of that. But this is a best case scenario, and we're hopeful we can actually hit it. But the first milestone to hit will be the January town meeting. And if we get approval there, that opens the path for everything else.
Okay.
In the meantime, we will continue to get the subdivision application together. We'll be working on the project plan, the budget, fundraising with Habitat for Humanity, and plan for success on that.
Will your steering committee be doing the subdivision application, or will Affordable Housing be doing that?
There'll be a transition, so the Affordable Housing will start it, and then once the steering committee convenes and gets stood up, they'll take it over.
Okay.
We don't want to wait for the steering committee to come completely up to speed. We want to keep moving.
Any questions, Jim? Jude, do you have any questions at this point?
Not really. I have not seen the documents that Mike sent. I still have not been given access yet to my town email, but I plan to work with Tom tomorrow or the next day on that. So at this point, no questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'll take away then is that barring any additional input, we'll move forward with the subdivision application. We'll move forward with Habitat for Humanity to agree on the terms, and we'll proceed towards the third Monday in January.
Okay.
Excuse me, Martha, I do have one question, mainly because I don't have the documents in front of me. The cost to subdivide the property, that is all covered by this relationship. It's not in addition to the town having to cover those costs?
Yeah, so the Board of Finance provided the initial funding for that, and we think that should take us mostly through it. And if not, it'll come under the project budget after that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Jude, I'm sending you a picture of this timeline just so that you can sort of see it. Unfortunately, the shadow of my hands are in it, but you'll get it.
I texted.
Oh, I appreciate
it. Thank you. Oh, Jen just texted it to you, too. Jen
got it.
Okay, great.
Yes. I'm looking at it now. Thanks. Okay.
Okay, so we're moving on to location, or are you doing this?
That was just a reference.
Okay.
Location is done. We went through the recent progress.
All right.
So that's what I had.
Jim, any questions?
Was there any thought of bringing it before planning beforehand, or is...
We had an informal conversation with land use and planning that helped us understand what the milestones were to hit.
Right, good.
So, yeah, Eric and Harold. Actually, we talked to zoning as well.
Okay.
Depending on the path that Habitat takes through their application process, there may be some zoning involvement. There's still a few details to be ironed out on exactly what the path through planning and zoning is going to be. But it looks like the timeline will be roughly the same.
Okay. Great. And we're going to see you in executive session as well.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. So the next thing on our agenda is our Board of Selectmen meeting dates and times for 2024. And you both have a draft copy of this. As you can see, I've gone back to a 2 meetings per month schedule. Because in the past 2 years we've had so many special meetings called that I felt that it was better to schedule 2. According to Vicki Erbowitz, we can cancel one if there's nothing on the agenda. We can certainly just cancel it. But probably better to schedule our time in, and then we don't have to play phone tag trying to find a meeting date for special meetings. I hope...
Excuse me, that was not ready when this folder was picked up earlier today, so I don't have...
I did, and I emailed that to you, too. So I'm going to send you... I emailed it, but you can't get it. I didn't know you couldn't get it. I'll send it to you right now.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
No problem.
I don't think it'll be a problem, Martha. I'm happy to hear that if we don't need the meeting, we do not have to, we can cancel. That's great.
Okay, so if, Jude, I just said it. You should probably have it on
Great.
your phone.
Yep, I have it right now. Thank you.
Okay, so we have 3 meetings that will have to fall on a Tuesday because we have Monday holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim, I know that's not your ideal frame time. We can do one meeting at 5:30 at the month if you want to. We can keep them all at 5:30. But because Jim, I know, has to be into work on Tuesdays, it might be.
Yep.
We can either do a call-in if it's not, but I know 5:30 is a busy time for you. If you wanted to on those Tuesdays, we could do an early morning, like at 9 o'clock on those Tuesdays, if that works for you.
That would work best for me. And if that's not possible, then I'll do whatever I need to do to make the meeting.
Okay.
But yeah, if we could do it before in the morning, that'd be great.
Jude, are you agreeable to those 3 Tuesdays that we make those at 9 a.m.?
Not knowing what will happen in the future, I'm going to say yes, but at this point, I don't have any issue with it. It works for me. Thank you.
All right, and then we could stick, all the other meetings will be at 5:30 on Monday evenings.
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
I'm good so far.
Okay. Further down on the page, you'll see that the annual town meeting for 2025 will be set for January 27th.
Mm-hmm.
The town budget hearings are done according to our ordinances. So 3rd Monday in April at the Old Line Meeting Hall, April 15th. And then again for the budget meeting, the hearing on the meeting in May. And then we need to schedule 2 budget review meetings to meet with staff and Anita, which will be an open session. People can come and listen if they'd like, but we will be reviewing individual department budgets and also any budgets that from boards and commissions. So I've scheduled those for January 8th and January 15th. It's 9 o'clock. These are longer meetings. They take somewhere between 3 to 4 hours, depending on how many departments we're seeing and if everybody's on time. So I know that's a block of time. It's a huge block of time, but if we can get through it, it moves the process for Board of Finance along in a smoother fashion.
Okay. I'm putting it on my calendar right now.
I know it's an early wake-up conference.
That's fine with me. I'm just wondering, is that Monday the 15th, Martin Luther King?
You're right. Monday the 15th is Martin Luther King.
Yep, so that doesn't work.
Doesn't work. So, we're going to be back at the drawing board. We could do the 20. We can do the 22nd, the Monday, and we'll just make sure that the boards and commissions that we review, those that we review are not the ones that are going to be heard from Board of Finance first.
Let's hope, right. Okay.
So we'll change that to the 22nd due to Martin Luther King holiday.
Ready.
All right, so I will make the changes on this, and these will become posted. So with those changes in mind, if I could have a motion that this will be our calendar going forward.
I'll make
that.
Okay, Jim made a motion, Jude will second, and all those in, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Yeah.
You said you're going to meet twice a month, so Mondays at 5:30, the 3 Tuesdays, what's the other day during the month?
It's always Mondays. Always Mondays, except for the 3 Tuesdays where the holiday shows up on a Monday.
So you're not having 2 meetings?
We are.
Yeah, we're going to have 2 the same day here.
Pardon?
I'm just looking to see if we're going to have one have them on the same day in January. We are not. So we'll have 4 meetings in January.
There will
Second,
be, you don't need to come to the budget review meeting, Suzanne, because that's just with Anita. Those are just basically a lot of discussion, questioning back and forth. All right, but I will get a copy of this to you as well. I'll change, first I'll make the changes, and then I will get it to you to include it in the minutes, but also for your own purpose. You'll be shorter time, hopefully it'll be shorter time. Okay, we made the amendment to the agenda to include a review from the Board of Director of Finance, Anita Mancini, with some quotes that just came in, and this is about payroll. So Anita's going to chat with us and tell us what it is that they have been looking at in the payroll department.
I did a spreadsheet to make it a little bit easier. Instead, I have all the backup posts that were many pages.
Jude, I'm going to try to take a picture of this. It's a spreadsheet, so you might have to zoom in.
Okay. What you'll see is we... Prior to me starting, the interim finance director mentioned about outsourcing payroll.
You've got to pull the mic closer because they can't reach you.
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you. Sorry. Okay, so prior to me, the interim finance director mentioned about outsourcing payroll. We looked at many different quotes and had many companies come in. One was ADP, Paychex, and Paycor. Really, after discussing with them and going over the financial packages, you could see that ADP would be approximately $17,600 a year. Paychex would be $21,700, and Paycor comes out to $28,900 for the different. Basically, all the work still is going to be done in-house. The only thing that they would actually do for us is we would use their platform. We still have to input it, and then they do our paycheck at the end of the year. So I did reach out because of our current software. The company was sold to G-Works, so we also needed software. G-Works took over for BMSI, and they did an upgrade. It's all web-based platformed. It does have an HR module in it, and the payroll. For the whole system, and they will not charge us to convert, is $10,000, and that includes financial and payroll and an HR component. If we go out, called Munis, because 99% of the towns in Connecticut have Munis, about 95%. For Munis, for the financial and the payroll piece, the conversion cost would be $120,000. The payroll portion yearly fee would be about $9,500, and the financial yearly fee would be about $25,000. If we decided to go outsource for payroll and only use Munis for financial, it would be a $66,000 conversion fee and a $25,000 a year maintenance. And it's a 3-year contract. After speaking with Tracy, my assistant, Matt Ward, we just thought that to go with the $10,000 plan and give it a try and see how that works.
And that all remains in-house, basically.
It will remain in
current software to the G-Works software.
Right. What you'll see as a note on the bottom is they did speak about hiring a part-time HR person. Now that HR part-time person can also assist with payroll because there's, I don't believe, enough hours for them to work 20 hours a week and not payrolls every other week. So we were thinking that would be another backup besides me and Tracy to do payroll So it's another body because Tracy is not here. I do payroll. And if I was out, you would have no one or someone, because then I would also be doing the AP as well. So we thought if we are going to hire somebody for the HR part-time, if maybe this would be an option.
So I think one thing, too, that we've talked about in the past week and a half is we can't just always have one head honcho knowing a program, because we have to be aware that accidents happen, people leave, people get sick, and the turnaround time of someone else learning it quickly, if they don't have experience, is it's a big leap. So Tim had mentioned prior to his departure that if we were to go back out, because our HR consultant will be leaving us in January, that if we were to hire a part-time person and perhaps make them, have them be trained in payroll as well, it's a backup system for us. And then we're not fumbling at the end if something happens to Tracy or Anita, and if anything happens, then we have a backup and payroll can continue as usual. I believe, Anita, you also told me that will this allow our employees to actually access their payment process online?
Yes. G-Work showed us a small demonstration that they have a HR component, which you would actually go online. It's brand new. They're just new for them too, so we will be learning with them. But it does work, and they've been testing it for the last year. They would go online, you put in a request for vacation, you put in your time card online, all of that will be done online. So people will be able to review their pay stub, so there'll be no more printing of direct deposits, so that would save money. So
They would download the W-2, for example, at the end of the year?
Yes.
Rather than... Yeah.
And that would also give us a component of being a web-based. Being web-based is being server-based. It's one of those, to work from home, it's kind of hard. Like, say, what I've learned in the past, say, disaster preparedness. If you have a storm and this building is offline, well, your server's not working. So if it's web-based, you can go to another building and do your payroll from that building. You don't have to be here in your office. So it's more user-friendly. There's a lot more components you can do it makes it simpler.
How, Martha, excuse me, how soon does this decision have to be made?
I think Anita would like us to approve it to go to Board of Finance for later in the month. But we can,
I would like to look at...
If we need more time, we can certainly take it, of course.
I'd like to look at the 3 proposals before we decide. And I'm delighted with what she's collected, but I would like to have a couple days to digest it, even if we had to have a special meeting before a Board of Finance to decide on it.
That's fine. We can just...
I could scan everything.
Right. You don't...
No, I'll come to the call in the next day or two and have Tom set up what I need to access all this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Jude, I think actually your name is misspelled, and that's, I think, the problem. I think he's spelling Reed incorrectly, and it's not going, it's one way one way in one place, and it's one way in the other place. And I noticed that on an email today from a board member who had it incorrect. So
okay.
I'll put a note into Tom tonight that he should look at the spelling in both places.
Wonderful.
Okay.
But I'm very curious to find out more, Anita. It's certainly a big nut financially, but I do agree with having an outside service and someone else be able to do it. So thank you.
Okay. So, Anita, we will table this for now.
Okay.
We'll move this further discussion, and if we have to, once Jude has time to review, Jim may want to review, then we will come back and we'll either do a special meeting, which we could do early in the morning even, because Jim could pop in, and we could do that. And, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so our ninth thing on our agenda is Selectmen General Discussion. And although we may not have a lot to discuss tonight, I noticed, and after talking to some other area for selectmen, that this is a time, because of the fact that we are a body of 3, we cannot meet in groups of 2 to discuss things, but this can be an open discussion time for us on anything that's coming up, and we can present questions, and if there's documents that you would, documents or more information on any particular topic, this will be a great time for me to take notes. Katie is always usually here at our meetings, and that way we can provide Jude and Jim any type of documentation that you need, so that you feel that you are well versed on any of the topics coming up in our future meetings. So
great. I appreciate it. Martha, I think you mentioned you were putting together a packet on Tanamaheag for nighttime reading.
I am, and I will get that.
So that's beautiful.
And one of the other things is I've also talked to Jack Collins that we would probably set up a special meeting, executive session, so that he can go over all the legal, open legal issues, so that you're both brought up to speed on those as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
So he's has a court case for the next 2 weeks that he knows he's in court, so it won't probably be until after the holiday.
Okay, that's even better. Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions, Jim? Okay, so hearing no more general discussion things, we're going to move into executive session. And I need a motion to move to executive session and invite Michael Foliano and Jen Miller from the Affordable Housing Commission to review a legal agreement with Habitat for Humanity. This would be our first review. And then, if need be, when we come out of executive session, I doubt that there'll be any voting tonight, but perhaps there will be, and we'll come out and we'll do what we need to do. So at this time, I ask our wonderful guests that they can leave. Suzanne, you can leave, and I will take notes just for purposes that we need them.
We need a motion to go in.
Need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Jim, and second by Jude, and we are set to go. Jude, I'm going to take you off WebEx, and then I'm going to call you on our cell phone.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, great.